Okay, now that we have our Arduino and breadboard set up, let's go ahead and build our first circuit. We'll just do a basic circuit that doesn't need any programming. First thing to know, these little holes right here are places to plug wires into. And they have a lot of different letters and symbols and numbers along here. And there's slightly different functions for a lot of them. And we will go into a bit of that later. But we'll start first of all with the basic one. First one here over here is we've got two very important ones, and this is the power section here. And this is where we'll get the power for our circuits. And the first one here is it's very important. It's a 5-volt power, and the other one is ground. Now, when we hook this USB up to the computer, it draws power from the computer, and this 5-volt pin becomes what we call hot or active. There's actually power running to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a wire and connect it from the 5 volts over to the rail here on our breadboard. Now you notice when we do this, this will actually connect every one of these holes to this 5-volt power supply. And that's the advantage of the breadboard, is that underneath this plastic cover, there are conductors connecting these holes together in a certain pattern. And along this column right here with the red line next to it, sometimes there'll be a plus sign up here. These are all connected by a conductor inside the breadboard. Then, so when we hook this red wire up to it here, that allows us to draw power from any one of these holes. Now we'll also need a ground. And the ground, you can take a wire from either one of these two pins or holes marked ground and bring it over to the adjacent column with the blue next to it. I'm going to change this wire to black. Ground is generally, we generally use red to show the positive charge and black to show the negative charge. So this brings power over to our breadboard. Now we're going to light up some components or make some components active. And the thing we're going to use is a light emitting diode or LED. Now LED is a little bit different than, well, it's very different from the bulbs that you're used to using. And they're really ubiquitous in the electronics world. Big advantage of them is that they hardly take any power to light up and they last a really long time. Now the LED, you'll notice that one of the leads coming out of the LED, and the lead is the wire, is slightly longer than the other. And that's the positive lead. It's important to know that because the current will only flow through the diode in one direction. So you have to hook the positive end up to the positive power. So here I've got this one turned to its side. I can bring the LED to two holes in our breadboard. And notice here what I've done is that I've connected them one on top of each other. Because inside our breadboard, all of these pins are connected in this pattern. So these are connected underneath the plastic cover with a conductor. So that if I put something in this pin, any other wires that I put in either one of these, any one of these 4 pins will be connected to this side of the diode. So this is my longer side of the diode here. And I'm going to, since that's the positive side, I need to hook that up to the positive power. But there's one thing I need to do before that, and that is to actually use a resistor. And the resistor impedes or makes it so the electricity does not flow as freely. Because as we said before, this was a 5-volt power source. That's too much for the LEDs. I told you it didn't take a lot of energy to light them up. And if you use too much energy, you can actually burn out the LEDs really quickly and really easily. So I'm going to bring an LED resistor over here. And I'm going to put one end of the resistor into a hole on the positive. And I'm going to put the other end of the resistor into the row that's connected up with the longer end of my diode. So for clarity's sake, I'm just going to spin this around here and put it the other way so that you can see that the resistor is hooked up from one side to the other. Now it's important that you look at the color bands on this resistor. That tells you the quote-unquote strength of the resistor, how much resistance there is. This one right here is red, red, brown, and that tells us that it's a 220 ohm resistor. We'll learn a little bit more about reading the color bands later, but for now that's all we need to know is red, red, brown. That goes from the positive side to the positive side of the diode. Remember that our diode had a longer lead and a shorter lead. And you can see because this has the bend in it and they both end at the same spot, this side over here is the longer lead. Then we'll go ahead and connect the other end of the diode to ground. There you have it. You have your first circuit here. Doesn't require any programming. Hook this up to the computer and your LED should illuminate.